Please come to order. We do have proof of posting according to Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code as amended known as the Texas Open Meetings Act. At this time, any members of the public who wish to speak, please have 5 minutes. Mr. Morgan.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning. Commissioners, good morning. I have a handout that talks about vibroacoustic disease that's caused by the low frequency noise from all these compressor stations. And I'd like to be able to put copies of this in the foyer for people to become aware of what it is. If you guys would love to do that. Sure. Okay, appreciate it. We have some issues. A lot of us are having to go to the hospital, testicular cancer, and that kind of stuff. I went to the hospital yesterday morning, terribly hurting in the scrotal area. I had forgotten to put my protective gear on before I went to bed. I was so tired. But it is horrible. And I'm still having to go to the doctors as a result of it. So this low frequency noise is not something we shove on. It's terrible. This no good tells you that. And we've still got to do something about the law to get it raised to everybody's attention in the state of Texas. And I sent a letter to 27 counties, all who have more than 1,000 gas wells. And I'm not getting any response back. So I called one of the commissioners next door there, and he said, I haven't seen that. So it looks like somebody is not letting you get to the commissioners for some reason. They're probably going to gas. Anyway, they're not getting it. I sent it with they had a sign that they got it. And all of them came back saying they got it, but nobody's saying they've seen it. As far as the commissioners themselves. So we must have got work to do. I appreciate you listening forward.
Thank you. Anyone else that would like to speak?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
How you doing, Judge?
Let me look at,
There's my budget proposal here with letters.
all right.
What I'm asking for is just that we raise the DPS secretary up to administrative assistant. As you know, the sergeant used to be in Groesbeck. I've since moved back here, and her duties here have at least doubled, if not more. If we can raise her up to administrative 3, which would put her up to her title, now she works for me. Also, I think I've included one trooper, just one trooper for the last, since March to now. He's raised over $23,000 already paid to the county's tickets. So, and there's another 68 that's moved to the county. So that's just one trooper. So one trooper can basically pay for the whole budget for us. And we're up to 8 troopers, looking to get 2 more as soon as possible. So it shouldn't have been a lot. But if y'all could do that, I would greatly appreciate it very much. Also, there's a travel expense. There's some training that DPS needs her to go to every year for mandatory for records. All we need is like $500 for travel expense, where she can go to San Antonio, or each district is, for that training is mandatory, and DPS can't pay for it. In fact, she's not a DPS employee.
Let me ask you this. She had mentioned maybe having to go to a conference. Do we pay for that conference?
It's the mandatory training for this year, but I wanted to add it for next year, because it's every year we do mandatory training on records retention. So this year she has to go. We haven't got a date yet, but she's going to have to go. And if y'all could get that travel expense, I would greatly appreciate it.
All right, that would be for the hotel and for the drive.
Hotel.
But is there
Yes.
a cost for the conference?
No, ma'am, it's free.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Well, we put that under conference expense, the travel and the hotels or whatever.
Okay.
So that's how that would show up. But wasn't clear. I
We haven't got a date yet, but it's probably
Okay.
going to be, I would think, either August or September.
Okay.
Then she'll have to put that in. It's required by the state.
also, whenever we got the, I had already gotten a copy of this, and office supplies, we normally have budgeted about, well, we did 200.
Yes, ma'am.
This
As you
last
know,
year.
prices have went up greatly.
Well, up to $1,200.
Yes, ma'am. I mean, you're looking at,
Office supplies
Toner,
from 200 to 1,200?
yes, ma'am.
Okay.
That's basically what limestone gives us.
Okay.
We run through in limestone too. And basically, we have to take from limestone county budget sometimes just to cover this budget.
Okay, well, I just want to clarify that
Yes,
because
ma'am.
that was,
Yes, ma'am.
okay, all right, and so it'll be conference. She has to put the line item
Okay.
in, and I think she may have already done that, we didn't know that.
Yes, ma'am. Thank y'all for your time.
Thank you. All right, anyone else that would, speak at this time? All right, then, if not, we'll go into our regular agenda. You are welcome to stay. If you need to go, well, that's fine too.
Got all that yet?
As you please.
Yes, ma'am.
Item number 1 is to approve the minutes of the June 15 regular meeting and the 21st special meeting. I think on number 3 where it says TDC does not respond to their request. I guess we can leave that in. I think we need to take that line out right now. It says TDC does not respond to their
Okay, I
request.
think that was a statement, and maybe I should have said,
The sheriff said, or.
The sheriff said.
The jail administrator said, yeah.
do you want me to say that,
Yeah.
or take
Whichever
it out?
one, whichever one you can say,
And what is her title? What is,
jail administrator,
okay, because it wasn't clear as to who.
as to who said it, make it clear as to who said it.
can't hear.
Okay. Dispatch consoles,
Yes, ma'am.
how many do we have?
Two.
Two.
Yes, ma'am.
So we would have two new ones then if we get that grant.
Yeah.
Thank you. On number 7, on the second page of number 7, that's hazard mitigation. I'm sorry, I didn't read this before.
Okay.
It's on page 3,
Mitigate.
mitigation.
Mitigate.
You might have to do that too, right up there at the top.
I'm sorry, I have to say number 7. Number 3?
Number 5, I'm sorry.
Mitigation.
Number 5 on page 3.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, make that mitigation.
Okay.
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
We have a motion and a second.
I'll say.
All in favor, aye. Motion carried. Item number 2 is budget transfers and amendments. Long list here.
I'll make a motion to approve all of the budget transfer. We don't have any amendments this time.
Is that one, this one sheet?
Yeah. Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, aye. Any opposed? None. Motion carried. Item number 3 is to approve and pay the bills. I'm sorry. Yeah, the bills is first.
Those payments to the ambulance, and so I'm clear, is that quarterly or is that, that's not, that's not, I haven't paid attention.
Is that right, monthly? Now, to the appraisal district, we had the quarterly.
Usually you're in now.
Okay, is that a motion? Okay.
Yes, ma'am. I'll make a motion to pay the bill.
All in favor, aye. Any opposed? None, motion carries. Number 4 is to approve the payroll.
I'll make a motion to approve payroll.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor, aye. Any opposed? None, motion carries. Item number 5 is report. And in Bridgeville County investment and interest earned report. Jenny, do you want to mention something about the interest rates?
The bank did raise our interest rate, our banking account, checking account rate up to 0.5, where it was 0.15 before, so that has jumped, and you can see that in this report, just in looking at the third quarter and the June month, it went from 687, which we do have a little more money in there also, so, but it went up to 1980, so that's interest for that month, so.
And he had said that he would adjust, as things might change, because, you know, the time of the week.
That's right, and interest rate has started rising,
Uh-huh.
so we are seeing an increase, and he did do that for 5 of our bank accounts, which was the ARC fund, our general bank account, and some tax office accounts. And there was one other on there, I can't, remember off the top of my head, which one it was, I think community supervision.
We have a sick leave pool quarterly report. Some hours donated, but no requests made. Unfunded liability quarterly report, which shows the liability for sick time, vacation time, comp time, holiday time. The total on that is liability is $307,409. look at that report. Here we have the extension office, which lists what the extension office has done for the past month and what their plans are for this next month. Also have a report from the tax office for June. Any other reports?
I have a question on the unfunded liability report.
Yes.
Is there a point where a cap on how many comp hours that you should allow an employee to reach? Is there anything in the statute on it or anything?
I believe, is it,
There is,
there's one cap for,
comp time, which is overtime, has a law that a regular employee can only get up to 240 before you must pay that out, or a law enforcement can get up to 480.
240 is the max for everybody except law enforcement, is that right?
That is correct.
Okay, and I have one question too about it. Does everybody have to take their comp time before they take their vacation time?
Yes, that's in the
Even
policy.
law enforcement, the whole deal?
Yes, that's in the policy.
Okay, and if they take sick time during that time, like there's a holiday or something, they have to take the comp time to make up for that?
No.
No, our
Okay.
policy only says vacation time. Is that what you're asking me?
Mhm.
And
Take
it's
comp
up to
time
the,
before vacation.
it's up to the individual office holder to try to keep that comp time. I don't know.
If you look at this report, we have several people that are on here that have a large amount of content.
Yes, we do. Now, all of these reports will be in the county clerk's office. If anybody would like to review any of the reports, you can see them there. Do we have a motion to accept? Do we have any reports from anyone that's here? If not, do we have a motion to accept the reports?
I'll make the motion.
Item number 6, burn ban. We do have one in place.
I'll second. Wait a second.
Yeah, we didn't get a second.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did we get us, on the reports, we have a motion and a second.
Yes,
now
ma'am.
To accept the reports. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carried. Item number 6 is burn ban. We do have one in place. No action. Item number 7 is special road use
Still in
agreement.
place, the burn ban is still in place?
Yes.
But the fireworks expires today. Item number 7, special road use agreements. Do we have any?
I won't talk about your law.
No, what?
No.
Be a little premature to talk about it right now. Always 2 weeks from now. Yeah.
Item number 8, to approve bonds and education certificates. I have one from Melissa Santana in the county clerk's office, and it is the acknowledgement of paternity. Do we have any other education certificates or bonds? If not, do we have a motion to accept this?
Make that motion.
All in favor, aye. Motion carried. Item number 9, agreement for Vanguard Records Management and Imaging System Amendment number 2 for the county clerk.
Okay. If y'all remember, back in March, we did an amendment to the Vanguard contract, which is co-file. We reduced charges, they reduced the bill by 10%. They, did away with the cost of the microfilm. It's free of charge now. We took on indexing. We're gonna try for a while on the indexing, and then, so we got the bill reduced down to from $7,393, I believe it was, a month, down to $5,100. We've tried indexing for 2 months, and that's a full-time employee's job, because it, have been working weekends for the last 2 months trying to keep up with the indexing. And I think it's about $1,200 a month to give the indexing back to them. So our bill will still be lower than what it was if they take, the indexing back. It's gonna be, I believe it's $6,250 versus that original bill that was $7,300. So we're still, it's gonna be $1,000 a month less. We'll give them the indexing back. The positive on this is, in doing this, our special fund, our preservation special fund will cover indexing. So at the beginning of the new budget, that money will shift from the general fund into preservation. So the bill in general will be back down at that $5,100 for the next year. Then they're still gonna give us all the equipment, the computers and printers and scanners and all that at the end of the next year's budget. But it's a lot. It ends up, you have 2 or 3 people in the office doing it instead of everyone participating. In a perfect world, yeah, we could have done it, but it's too much for a couple of people to try to do the experiment. And so I'm asking for the approval to give this back to COFAL. It's a service that, we have to have it. It'll cost approximately $12,000 a year, and it can be paid in October. It will begin out of the special fund. It will come out of the general fund. But, of course, we have the money in there now because, it was $84,000 a year for COFAL. And we do have that down to about 65. And so that's what I'm asking. Let's give that back to COFAL. It's
Indexing, and then you have to have someone to check it after it is indexed, just to be sure, because that's such an important thing that it's.
And it was causing a delay. It was a later time getting it done. It was causing a problem with the title company over here. He does some kind of report based on when things are indexed, and it was causing him to be in violation. It was ending up to be a big headache. And it's $12,000 versus having a full-time employee doing that. That's just a small percentage of what it would cost to pay someone.
Do we have a motion or any discussion? We're supposed to have a motion in a second before we discuss, but we're gonna do ours backwards.
I'll make the motion to turn it back over.
All right, any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Thank y'all.
None, motion. Okay, now, Lloyd makes a motion,
I second.
and Clyde seconds. Number 9 is the agreement for Vanguard Record Report. Number 10, consider sealed bids for the 2010 John Deere tractor for precinct 2.
Yep. What do you need?
Consider the sealed bids. Do we have just one?
No, we ain't put it
We
out.
hadn't put it out there yet.
Ben,
You gotta advertise it for 2 weeks.
Consider,
Going
consider
out.
bidding. Okay,
Yeah.
that says sealed bids.
Yeah. We gotta start the bid, and that's 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Okay.
Okay.
From today.
Yes. Do we have a motion to go out for bids for the tractor?
I'll make that motion.
second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, motion carried to go out for sealed bids. And you'll get all the information on the bid.
Yeah. I think you got it, don't you?
I
I've got everything.
Great, okay. Item number 11 is jail issues. Just to update, the shower part is finished, is that correct? The shower part is finished, is that correct?
The
Except, the shower part itself, but we just need the light
lighting and the electrician will be there next week to finish it.
and what?
The electricians will be there next week to.
Next week,
To
okay.
finish the lot,
All right,
to take care of the lighting.
all right. And we do have the water heater that will be installed on, I believe, the 18th. So we did get that done. Do you have other issues as far as repairs that need to be done?
Yeah.
No? All right. We did have an inspection. Would you like to give us a report on that inspection?
Yes, the inspector came, we failed, we had some employee issues again, in classifications, and, the completeness and
Fire inspection or something?
accuracy and do what?
Fire
The fire inspection, yes, he's supposed to be here today, he's actually canceled, and he'll be here tomorrow. And that's strictly on me, that's my fault. Because I was thinking the alarm company, back when I had somebody here and it wasn't the alarm company, and it should have been a fire. But classifications, and the other one was the bookend paperwork wasn't being accurately filled out completely, so. The good side of that is, as far as I'm concerned, it's the best jail inspection we've had in 6 years. But, we still failed it.
Anything else? Not at this time. All right, thank you for that report. Item number 12, budget workshop. You have a binder with the request in that, request from the departments. And do you have anyone here today that would like to talk about their budget? I see Nan back there. Are you ready to talk about yours, or?
I have nothing changed other than we added a little extra for fuel because of the fuel cost. And as fuel has gone up, I looked at the statistics for across the state, and the average fuel cost is $4.10 a gallon. And that was $6.21 this year. And so I added a little extra in there for fuel. And I think the other companies do the same thing.
Who is he? I can't see. Who is?
Dan Ramsey.
Oh, okay.
Proceed to.
I guess I'll throw out a little bit. I don't believe it's that much money in the scheme of things, but two things that are in mind. I kept $5,000 in the capital litigation money. We still are going to have an appeal coming out of DeBrett Black. Now, the avenue we went, and we had a long discussion over that,
Let me just say, it's page 10. You haven't found page 10. Sorry.
that avenue makes that appeal a lot easier. Now, I don't want to speak on the appeal or what it's going to be because we haven't received that from defense yet. So I don't know what issues or what could come up. If you want my opinion, I feel like it's going to be run-of-the-mill and very easy to do, but I'm keeping some money in there just in case somebody needs to be hired. I kept $5,000. Talking to some appellate attorneys, I think that's more than enough. I don't know exactly what it's going to cost. I don't know exactly what the appeal is going to entail issue-wise and research-wise and things like that. It may be even an appeal that I don't need to use that $5,000 at all if my office can handle. But again, I just want to let y'all know I kept that money in there just kind of as a contingency depending on what we get throughout the year. But I don't want to scare any of y'all five or anybody in the audience with an appeal on that case. I feel very confident that it's going to be finalized within the next year. Once that appeal is finalized, compared to a death penalty case. It is truly done at that point in time. And to also give some perspective, any case we go to trial on that's not a plea deal, we get an appeal on, right? So anytime we go to a jury trial, 100% of the time, we get an appeal from that. So this, again, is very standard procedure and nothing different just because it's DeBrett Black versus some other defendant that we may try. I also added, and I apologize, Judge, I came ill prepared. I don't know how much money I put in there, but for phones. The sheriff's office, I thought it was a very good idea at the time, received work phones. I'm looking for me, my assistant, and my investigator to receive work phones as well. You deal with discovery if you use that phone for work purposes. Luckily, it doesn't come up most of the time. Most attorneys kind of play fair and don't push that envelope, but it could happen in the future where if you use your work phone or you use your personal phone for work purposes, going back and forth with the investigation, that could be discovery dumped, and that information be used as part of the trial. I think it's standard nowadays looking at different counties. It's kind of one of those things. It's interesting. I was thinking about standing up here talking about phones. It's one of those things. My mom and I talk about bills. 20 years ago, 25 years ago, you didn't have a phone bill, right? You didn't have cell phones. Like, it just was a cost that didn't exist. That now families, it's just an extra cost for families in general purposes. And now I see kind of the sheriff's office getting it, and now me asking for it. Unfortunately, I see that as just kind of an added cost of doing business in the criminal justice system in 2022. I think the price was really good. Yeah, $1,600. That was actually way less than what I was expecting. Now, $1,600. I'm not making light of that by any means. But again, I thought that program was fairly affordable given the benefit of what it is. I added fuel as well. We were able, with the help of the commissioners, Commissioner Lane, we were able to fix, I don't know if y'all know, but we fixed up an older truck that we had around. And right now it's working well. And so I've added fuel to the budget for my investigator to go back and forth in that truck and be able to use that truck. So that's another added cost onto the budget. I think those are the three. I believe those are the only three added costs from what I had last year. And again, the way I'm looking at it, or my argument to y'all 4 and 5 is those are pretty. I'm looking at those as necessities. I wouldn't be asking for more money, but I think that those things right now would be good to take care of and help the functionality of my office. And if you think about it and you have questions, let me know. I just wanted to get out in front, make sure that everybody knows what I'm asking for. And again, if you have any questions or concerns, let me know and I can stand up and address those. All right, thank you.
Yes.
I can keep mine short and sweet.
There you go. Let's see. That would be 430, which would be page 6.
I think y'all's may look a little different than mine.
Page 6. 6. Up in the top right hand corner, page 6.
Okay. From line item 211 to 650, I'll just briefly explain the changes there. I'm requesting for an increase in postage of $500. You should understand why on that. The agreements and leases is an increase of $4,443. And that's simply due to contracts increasing the value and price. The Pritchard and Abbott contract that we approved a few weeks ago is the biggest part of that. Purchase services, I'm asking for an increase of $750 in that. That has a lot to do with our tax statement mailings, the labor, and the envelopes and the printing. I've come very close, and actually I think last year I had to borrow some money cover that, so I just wanted to add that just a little bit to help those increased costs. Postage is separate from that, but that's just the materials. I reduced my conference expense by $1,000 to help offset some of these other increases. Equipment and furniture, I've asked for a reduction of $300. And then an increase in $200 to a total of $2,000. And that other expense is about the only bucket I have when I run out of money. It's in another line item, so I requested that. And then as far as the 101 to 204, which has to do with all the employee stuff, I've requested a $3,500 increase across the board, and then all the ripple effects with that.
Wait, now which one?
Everything to do with salary and employees. I don't know how y'all see it. I don't think you see it exactly like I do, but I know as you increase the salary of them, then the FICA and Medicare all to tick up in retirements to go along with that. But the bottom line, if it was all to be approved, would go from $544,351 for 2022 to $576,942.
How many employees?
6, not counting myself. And on the employees, as y'all probably all know, I've had 2 new hires, so they got hired into the county's starting pay rate, and I really feel, and 2 of my others are relatively new. I have some of the lowest paid employees in the county. So just for what that's worth, they do a great job with the customers, and I want to take care of the people that are taking care of our customers. That's why I've asked for that. But if you have any questions or like to talk to me, I'm available.
All right, thank you.
Thank y'all.
Anyone else? I know we're talking about budget workshop right now. Spending the ARP money is a little different than that, but we don't have that on here, but just as a little update, Karen has found that we can get the ambulances off of the buy board, so those are moving along pretty quickly, and as soon as we get the information on the small generators, we'll get that out, and then looking at the cars, we've sent the information on those, and so as soon as we can kind of get the funds amount on each of these, then we'll be ready to move forward on the next step. We did get the second payment on the American Rescue Fund plan. We do have that, but we're going to see kind of where we are on what we've already committed to, and then we'll go into this, I guess you call it the second phase. Anybody else have anything they wanted to talk about as far as budget this morning? I'm hoping that we will make some type of decision on the, what we're going to call it, Karen?
Inflation something.
Inflation, 1-year inflation supplement. To help with the rising cost of fuel and inflation. Just to see what's going to happen in the future, and that, by next year, hopefully, things will have, will be in a better situation.
Can I say something on that?
Sir?
Can I say something on that?
Yeah.
Just to show you an example, I don't feel this because I live a mile and a half from here, but I have, of my 6 employees, I have 1 that drives from Wortham, 1 from Buffalo, and 1 lives at Southern Oaks up at the lake. So they all are feeling that, I'm sure.
Are we ready to talk about that today, or we still need a little time to?
One thing I noticed in some of the requests is that a lot of offices are kind of requesting the same amount. I mean, it's all pretty close, and some are even less. But like what Dan just presented, is pretty much in line with the sheriff's department, and I've polled a lot of people from different offices, and it seems to be fair to me, what they're requesting, for their employees.
Once we can agree on that amount, then we can put the rest of it. I know y'all have just gotten the request from your packet, so that you haven't really had a chance to look at it really well. So you may want to look at that. We may need to have another special meeting between now and then. Do we have a meeting scheduled between now and the next? No.
No, the ones are scheduled after, at the end of the month.
Yeah.
Is that right?
If you think we could come to some kind of an agreement on that, we could have a special meeting and agree on that, and then kind of finalize our packets a little earlier, which would be a good thing.
What date then will it be that you'll get your information from the appraisal office?
July 25th falls on a Monday, and I talked with Sean about that. He might have them out that Friday, but he's certainly not obligated to, and this being his first time, I'm sure don't want to rush him if he needs the weekend. So, but statutorily, July 25th, I would have that, and then I can start working on the calculations.
How long will it take you think, when you get it?
He's fast, just a day or two.
It doesn't take long. The Pritchard and Abbott pays for Linebarger to come out with a electronic calculation worksheet that I like to rely on. It takes out a lot of human error, and I can find out here pretty quick. I really thought the 2022 worksheets had already been approved by the comptroller, but on their website it says that these are not the finalized ones. So whenever the comptroller finalizes their worksheets, Linebarger wants 3 working days to make sure it all is working appropriately. So in worst case scenario, it would be midweek before Linebarger software does what it's supposed to do for me. But I'm hoping it's sooner than that. Last year was kind of a train wreck because legislature was still in session, and the comptroller hadn't approved the worksheets until I think the day of that. So July 25th, that was their last deadline to get those worksheets out. So I would think by Wednesday would be, I could have something on that week. I should be able to.
I'd like to say something about my budget. It's something that came up yesterday. Karen and I were talking about our copier that we have. It's on a 4-year lease or 48-month lease. We're in month 45. So I tried reaching out to my rep, and she's supposed to get back with me on seeing how much it would cost to purchase that and get out of that contract. It's roughly $300 a month that we're paying, and then see if we could do a maintenance, monthly maintenance on that. So if that's the case, then that would be an item that I would need to add in the general for that copier. It's under leases because, the Xerox lease. But that just came up yesterday.
You have the lease money already built into your agreements and leases, so that can just be transferred down to equipment and furniture to purchase the money we decide to do that.
Yeah, well, $300 a month, that's what, about $3,600 we're paying them. I don't know if they want $5,000 for it, then we wouldn't. So, I'm hoping to hear from her today, and then we may have to make an adjustment.
Yeah, we can
there.
Sure, it's still do that. We can get the information.
Okay.
All All right, so what are you thinking? Are you thinking we're gonna decide something today, or are we going to kick it down the road to next week?
I won't go.
All righty, shall we set a special meeting for next week? Would that work?
Yeah, night work, but Wednesday's just been marquees at 1 o'clock.
That's right, we could do it Wednesday. Or we could do it later this week. Next Wednesday, you're gonna be out of pocket?
No, I'll be up this week. I'll wait in the afternoon.
Okay, in the morning.
Yeah, I'll be out that morning too.
Okay. We could do it Monday morning.
It's Friday. I'm good running.
About 8 o'clock then.
Or,
Good.
my time is,
We have 4 to 9 o'clock, so we're at 8 o'clock. Holy cow.
Make sure we done by 9.
We will be, we're going to have that one thing on there. We're going to be through by 9.
8 o'clock.
8 o'clock Monday. All right, Beth, you got that?
Yes,
We'll
ma'am.
do an agenda and it'll be budget workshop and that's the thing we'll be
That's
talking
the
about.
only thing that's on there.
Yes. Unless somebody comes up and, yeah. All right. That'll be the time to look at your packet and for us to decide.
Yeah, this part is good.
what we're gonna do.